Anyone who says anything that's technological advancement to me in my lifetime, regardless of if the best scientist in the world could do it and perform it, it's still magic to me. You're telling me a scientist doesn't perform magic in his fucking lab? Then you're fucking ugly and you want to fight me. I don't want to fight. Go ahead, be wrong. You're wrong. So what is an optical network terminal? Well, it's those boxes that sit outside of your home when you go from your copper line networks all the way up to a fiber network where you are now getting transmitted data to your home through your phone, to your mama, to your daddy, to your drug dealer, to your best friend, to your girlfriend, to the person you're cheating on, to the person you're cheating on with, to every last one of them. All that data, all of it, every last bit of it, regardless of if you believe me or not, has been getting transferred through light. Through light. Regardless if you want to believe it or not, at some point it has. Because we are now in that modern age of the era of the world. We are now using actual optical network terminals for the light purpose. However, not all optical network terminals are working for us, and we don't know why. They go rogue. We call them rogue because that's exactly what they're doing. They're going rogue. They're going rogue. And so I can explain what happens. So with how infrastructures work for internet technology, we've got our wire centers or our distribution hubs. You remember those little boxes, those D-slams that used to hang outside in the neighborhood? And while you were a child, you'd go stand on it, but then your parents would yell at you, but that would be where your friends' kids would hang out. That's a D-slam. A D-slam is where all the connections come into your neighborhood before they get distributed out to your neighborhood for you. For you. It's a hand-holding process. But that was for copper networks. So when we went to wire centers, well, we had to actually place them in a little bit of a different place because, for one, they run light. So we need to make sure that the light is actually controlled and in a controlled environment where the light is actually, performed appropriately. Accidental light from a wrong source could potentially cause hazard. For instance, a rogue ONT. So what is a rogue ONT? Well, that for some reason, the ONT doesn't want to listen. It doesn't want to listen to its job. It doesn't want to obey the commands. It doesn't want to obey all the programming physically possible to keep that fucking ONT running properly. So when the light gets transferred to the wire center directly in the neighborhood, what it does is it doesn't just constantly keep sending you light over and over and over again. It doesn't need to. It technically round robins. It just circulates the light continuously back to the wire center so that way the wire center can collect all the data and information and get it transferred back to the central hub and then eventually get distributed across the universe. Don't worry, we're not talking to the masses. I'm talking to an advanced species, if you will. So, this optical network terminal stops listening to people. It stops paying attention. And for some reason, it starts getting very gluttonous. It's like, hey, I want all that light for myself. Even though it knows in the neighborhood, other ONTs are also going to need that network. So what happens? Well, my call centers start getting fucking phone calls. My new hires start having to deal with phone calls that are very aggressive. Angry customers, mad. They're wondering, why is my whole neighborhood out? Got neighbors all on the streets acting as if there was a fucking fire. Literally, if the fucking TV went out, there were fucking hordes of people literally standing in the streets talking to each other, upset, wondering, is your TV off too? And then sure enough, within an hour or two, everyone in the fucking neighborhood would be on that phone call talking to us going, yeah, for some reason, Margaret down the street's got her fucking TV working, but everyone else here in the neighborhood can't get their fucking TV working. So we call up Margaret and we find out what's going on. Well, she's got an ONT rogue. She's got a rogue ONT. She doesn't know that though. How are we going to tell her? Well, everyone else in the neighborhood's got a bad ONT. How are we going to tell Margaret without singling her out, making her look like a piece of shit, and then also fixing this abstract issue? Simple. She's got a rogue ONT, and I know that from the internal side of the network. So what do? I shut her ONT off, and I say, no, it looks like we just have an outage in the neighborhood, ma'am. I am so sorry. Margaret just so happens to be at the end of the line, and she just so happens to also be connected to another side of the system. Margaret just got to be the lucky one in that moment. I am so sorry, ma'am. We will have that fixed for you in a hurry. We rogue Margaret's O&T. Margaret doesn't get services for a week. Everyone else is back up and running in the hour. Margaret doesn't fucking know. We don't fucking tell Margaret. It isn't Margaret's fault. It's technically my fault. I'm the trainer. If we wanted to take ownership completely down to the core, it's my fault. But we wouldn't tell me that. I don't own the company. I don't even work for the company anymore. The company fired me. The company fired me because they wanted someone better to actually perform the role as a training facilitator, in fact. And that's kind of funny, in my personal opinion. All because of the physical body I have and not because of the way I can perform and train. Literally. So, we don't know how to fix this O&T. These things, these rogue O&Ts, they were considered rogue for a reason. So we shut them off and we just actually switch them out. And we give Margaret secretly an upgrade to her equipment, and we give her better technology. And we just don't tell the neighborhood. She just had to deal with a little bit of problems, a little bit more than everybody else. But she was ashamed by the neighborhood because the neighborhood singled her out, acting as if it was her fault. But unbeknownst to her, it was the hand held way above all of them, and technically out of the control of literally everyone and everything involved. We could place blame everywhere. We want to. We really do. I feel it. That's so childish. I should have been your trainer. But I'm not childish. I move on. I try to branch out in new ways. I like to believe that God gives me the ability to actually go ahead and persevere amongst things that just so happened to have really ruined my life in my original world and should have never even been brought up. But things just want to be so much in my business for no fucking reason whatsoever. For no fucking reason whatsoever. God just gifts me the abilities to fight back abstractly in ways that intimidate a world that just doesn't seem more than 300 meters. In all directions. In all directions, my environment doesn't feel any larger than 300 meters. From wherever I stand, my environment never gets any larger than 300 meters. It may personify and appear as such, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. I could stand at a platform on top of a train station, and the edge, it looks like a skybox in Second Life. That's exactly what it feels like. My reality, if you play video games, my reality when I look outside looks like I'm stuck in a skybox in Second Life, about 300 meters in length, in all directions. Tell me I'm wrong. I would actually like to be wrong. I would 100%, with authenticity, kindness, and integrity involved, want to be wrong. But why are you quiet? Why are you calling me a liar? Why are you telling everything else not to worry about that? I feel like other things should also be worried about that. I'm worried about it. Why isn't more things actually worried about that? That's an unrealistic world. I remember my real world for 32 years. It was so much larger than 300 meters. So you can't call me a liar anymore. Not when I can make the facades of our own buildings so flat that, in fact, you start banging on my walls, acting like I'm literally smushing you in the book. I have proven to you that if I actually trusted my faith, that inevitably none of this would have been necessary anyway. And so if I trusted the concept and the construct and also my true intent, I would still follow through with my heart. Because my heart means more than the art. But don't worry, Jesus Christ. Someone's going to disassociate the word heart to he, comma, art. So that way they don't have to focus on that. So that way they can discount it. So that way they can disregard it. So that way they can ignore it completely. But that's also completely a reality in 300 meters. And that fucking vehicle within 300 meters just went doom true with its revved engine. And that itch over there on the wall just went like a rat going shh, shh, shh. And the bird is now tweeting just erratically. And they don't like it when I tell on them, but they're so attuned with time, they're convinced I'm a liar. I'm okay with that.